Hey everybody, it's Gil here with the Sailing Vessel Dream Chaser, and this week for the intro, I'm coming to you from Oahu. Deb and I are actually spending a week in Oahu, but for the video today, I wanted to go ahead and share just a little bit of the footage from the last couple of weeks. I'll show you a real brief introduction into what we do as a family tradition for Christmas Eve and Christmas. We let the girls open one Christmas present from under the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve. We do it as a family and talk about what we're thankful for. That's always a lot of fun. And then on Christmas morning, obviously the girls got up, Santa came, right? So we had a great time at Christmas. I'm also going to show you a little bit about how to go about automating your home using smart devices. Something I was really interested in actually when we were on the boat, and I opted not to do it on the boat because I was a little bit worried about the draw, the electrical draw that each of these devices would take. And, you know, obviously you need to conserve every watt of power on the boat. But on the house, we decided to go ahead and give this a shot. So I'm going to show you at least the very basics of how we set this up, leveraging a hub that has both Zigbee and Z-Wave functionality through a Samsung SmartThings hub. And I'll just show you a simple setup with lights, which is all we got going on so far, and that's what I'm ready to sort of film at this point. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and you know, you can control this via your automations, schedules, using your mobile phone, a touchpad hung on the wall, or even using your Amazon Echo device, and you know, calling out the lady's name, I won't say it so we don't trigger yours, but then asking her to turn the lights white, turn the lights red, dim the living room to 40%, etc., and it does all of that. So in this episode, we'll go into all of that. Hope you guys enjoy the episode. So we are getting some new appliances. I thought I'd do a couple of little videos of the before and after in the kitchen. All right, this is the side here with the stove, microwave, and refrigerator. And then as we go this direction, at the dishwasher over here, all white appliances right now, but we have all the new stuff that is coming today. We'll see how it looks when it's done. All right, got some holes in here right now. So we actually ordered these appliances from Home Depot. We ordered them almost a month ago, and one of them was on back order. I think it was the stove. But when the day they came, which was just 2 days before Christmas, as scheduled, two guys came out. It was a pretty neat operation, as one would do the work, the other was unloading off the truck and prepping each device. And you can see the speed at which he put the microwave in. He already has the new dishwasher in. And then the two of them carried in the stove that was all prepped. He'd already hooked up the new wiring that needed to be on it and the little latch that keeps it from tipping over. Brought the refrigerator in, and it was pretty much as simple as that. These guys were done. They were in and out in about 2.5 hours. So Christmas season is upon us, and our tradition is everybody gets to open one Christmas present on Christmas Eve.
Mine sounds hollow.
Who's that one from?
Your mom.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, hold up. Since you said your mom, it kind of sounds like an insult. You know how kids will say, like, your mom.
Your mama?
Let's open it. I want to see.
Your mama, Jama.
What is it? Oh, it looks like a shirt. Oh my god, it's socks.
Oh my god,
Say
they're just
crunk?
so cute. I could go for some socks.
Oh yeah,
It's like
that.
this is like tiger paws.
This looks like a pair of sloppers. Is that a pair of sloppers? Oh, this is definitely a pair of sloppers, right?
What up?
Oh god, it is.
Oh, it's a parasaur.
What?
A trike? That's short for triceps. Try means three.
Very good.
Three corn face.
Would you like to go next? Would you like to go next?
Hold on. Yeah, we should try to get this. Hold on.
I know what
Wait. Let's get all this tinsel off, because this stuff will ruin the vacuum. Hold on. Hold the truck.
I would like to know if there's different worlds and how different days.
Thankfully, you girls didn't great hit your mother's gene about trying to like tear every piece of tape off.
This is case.
The casers have all that stuff in it too. Remember, you know what that means? Sometimes, look, hold on. Stop, I'm gonna take it away.
These are the signs that Santa has come for the evening.
What is that?
Haha.
Is that the two-legged dragon you've been talking about?
These are replaceable.
Show mommy, look what Santa got her.
Why are you red now?
All in all, we had an awesome Christmas. So the next morning, on Christmas morning, we got up. The girls were really excited. Santa had left a present at the tree in McKinley's bedroom, and she came in to wake us up and show us the present that Santa had left for her. And then we sat just on the floor right around the Christmas tree. What was kind of cool is we had the little Amazon show, the video device, set up so that Whitney could be with us, sort of virtually through the whole thing. So you'll see each person kind of holding their stuff up and showing it toward the kitchen, and that's because on this little device, I'll put an arrow pointing to it right here. That's where we had the the show sitting there, and it was just the right angle so that she could see everything over at the Christmas tree and both girls and Deb and I. But yeah, we had a great time, and kind of spent the next few hours just sitting together and enjoying each other's company, and playing with some of the things the girls got. And I found myself doing quite a bit of assembly and putting batteries in throughout the rest of that particular day. I hope you enjoy the sights and sounds of that.
The first Noel, the angel did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. They looked up and saw a star shining in the east beyond them far, and to the earth it gave great light, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel.
When Deb's parents passed away, we had gotten several of their articles of clothing, and Deb just wasn't sure what she wanted to do with them. And she knows a woman that she plays video games with online who does sewing. And she'd actually tried to have these things made a couple of different times. One person actually picked them all up and then returned them and said that was beyond their skill set. Another person said that they would do it, and then a month later they just said they didn't have the bandwidth to do it. So she found a friend of hers that sews, as I mentioned, who was going to turn their old shirts into keepsake or memorable blankets in quilt form. So that's what you're seeing here. Deb's opening each one up.
Texas Master Gardeners. Oh, that's cool. One of his Marine t-shirts.
I want to see. Can I see?
You're gonna have to come over here because it's on the bottom.
I thought I'd share something that we're trying to do here. I have had an Amazon Echo or Amazon Echo Dot for a while and really like it. We had them on the boat even with a wireless hotspot and unlimited data. When we were in areas where we had that kind of connection, we'd use it to play music and almost an intercom. We could send messages to different sides of the boat. It was really pretty cool and convenient. We also happen to order some things from Amazon, so when you have a Prime account or you're using Amazon, it's pretty darn handy to have it. Works a little bit like Siri. For those of you that don't know, you can just sort of ask Alexa any question you want, and she's more than happy to answer that for you. Well, now that we've been in the house, I've been starting to look at more and more home automation that you can tie into voice control. So in this house, we have can lights along the ceiling. There's quite a few. There's 7 in the living room, another 5 in the mermaid room, and then there's 3 more in the dining room. And we thought, it'd be kind of neat to be able to control those and set a mood or put the temperature of the lights to something you want, right? If you're working, you might want it to be a very cool light, let's say 4,500, 4,800, 5,000 Kelvin. If you want something warm, you might want 37, 3,800 Kelvin for a nice warm light. And then if we want to get really crazy and just have them all be red and dim for maybe watching a movie or something like that, we could certainly do so as well. So I've tested out quite a few different bulbs. Everybody's heard of Philips Hue, and that's one of the big ones, but they're expensive, real expensive. So I've been playing around with some inexpensive home automation. Inexpensive is a relative term, right? But inexpensive home automation items. And I tested out some Sylvania RGB dimmable temperature controlled lights. So these fit in the can lights. So instead of a 65 watt incandescent or the equivalent LED bulb that you could put in there, which is what we had, the LED bulbs, you basically pull the bulb out and this thing replaces the entire ring in the ceiling, and it gives you sort of all those features. Frankly, the visible part of the ring looks a little nicer than the ones we had in this house. They're a little bit dated. So I put 4 in just to test them out, make sure everything worked the way I would expect. I did buy a Samsung SmartThings hub. It's about a $50 hub, and it uses a couple of technologies. So it lets you integrate with almost any other application through a kind of an open source sort of portal, if you will. It also has a built-in Zigbee and Z-Wave controlling hub, and those are 2 very common protocols for building a home automation network. The nice thing about both Zigbee and Z-Wave are each of the individual units. So in this case, when I put 7 light bulbs into the ceiling, each of those becomes a receiver and a transmitter for additional signals. So if you had a really large home and you were further away from your hub, essentially what happens is the signal can jump from the hub to the first bulb, transmit through all the other bulbs to the one at the furthest part of the house. I know that sounds a little crazy, but we're all hearing about this technology for large homes called a mesh network, right? So Google has some little mesh networks items, and a few other network router providers are providing mesh networks. Well, mesh networks aren't anything new. Zigbee and Z-Wave have been doing this for years in the home automation space. And what's interesting is you no longer need a $100 sort of repeater for this. When it's in the Zigbee technology, essentially your $12 light bulb is its own transmitter and receiver and sort of access point, if you will. So it acts for a signal boost for that particular signal. So let me kind of show you what I'm doing here. I picked up a few of these on Amazon. Like I said, I bought a package of 4 first to make sure I knew they were going to work well. And now I've got the rest of them, and I'm going to start putting them into the ceiling, and I'll show you what we can do with them. So along the front part of the house here, you can see these particular can lights, and you see what they look like there. Just a frosted glass ring, frosted glass with a ring holding them. And here's a box of another dozen or so of these Sylvania inserts. And as I mentioned before, you can kind of see a couple of things, right? It's an actual LED surface with a retaining ring already built into it. The nice thing is they're retrofit, so I'll show you how that works in a second. But not only is it color controlled, you can choose the temperature, the warm or cold, and they are dimmable. So you get all of those particular features with these lights. So as I mentioned, these retrofit really easy. Basically, you just pull the bulb out of the actual can light, you screw this piece up into it, and then this just fits in just like the lens would on the old one, except you just connect that pigtail to the light. And that's it. I mean, it really is that simple. Nice aluminum housing to dissipate any heat the LED generates, and all in all, these things work really well. So here I've got a few of these installed, and you can see what I mean. The ring looks a little cleaner, the light is recessed up in there a little bit, and what you see there instead of a frosted glass like in the old ones that's actually the surface of the LED itself. So with the lights retrofitted in there, now it's just a matter of turning on the actual light switch. Now I left mine on an actual switch, and I'll just leave the switch on. That's a bit of a challenge with home automation, because if you leave it on and somebody comes over and flips the switch off, well, then they all go off. The good thing is, if for some reason the automation stopped working, or for example, my mom's coming into town, they'll work with just a regular light switch. So if you do turn them off and then you come in and you turn the switch back on, I can set the state that I want these to come back on, either the last setting they were on, or I can default a specific on state when the power is regenerated back to them. So let me turn this on. What you'll notice is they will flash a couple of different colors, and then the hub will start to recognize and find them. And then once they do, I can go into my SmartThings application, see the new lights, name them, which I will do because I'm numbering these, right? These are, living room 1 through 7, and I did them in the order that makes sense to me. I'm going to flip on the switch right now. And I notice one of them is not on, which could be a problem. I'll go back and explore that one here in a minute, but first I'll get these other two set up. Oh, it just came on. It took a second. So these are now getting connected back to the hub, which interestingly enough, I'll show you what it looks like. Pretty simple little device. I have mine just sitting right here by the router. Just this small Samsung SmartThing hub. That's all it is. I can't remember the number. It'll hold up to like 256 different devices or something like that. So these are the 3 that I just installed, and the 4 along that wall are the ones that I tested it out with. What's interesting is you'll see that the ones along the back wall are set to a very, very warm light right now. Once I program these 3 and get them all connected into the same group, I can control them all at the same time.
Turn lights on.
Okay.
To turn lights to blue.
Okay.
To turn lights to red.
Okay.
To turn lights to 100%.
Okay.
To turn lights to green.
Well, it just fell.
Okay.
To turn lights to orange.
Okay.
To turn lights to 2%.
Okay.
That looks like Kool-Aid.
To turn lights white.
Okay.
To turn lights to 100%.
Okay.
To turn lights warm.
Okay.
To turn lights warmer.
Okay.
To turn lights to cool.
Okay.
To turn lights cooler.
Okay.
To turn off all lights.
I hope you enjoyed this week's video with the glimpse into a little bit of our Christmas tradition and how to go about automating your home using smart home devices. But before I sign off, let me just show you a little bit of footage of what this looks like from our balcony here. It's just gorgeous. And next week, we'll share with you the scenes and visit to Oahu, Hawaii, which is where we are now.